All right, welcome back to the iWealth podcast. Today, me and Mr. Brad Connors from iWealth are talking about a crazy fact that I heard the other day. 59 and a half is the average widow age. That's crazy.
It is crazy.
You're becoming a widow at 59 and a half. I mean, you haven't even, technically made it to retirement, right? Isn't retirement 62, right? Or is it 62 and a half?
Well, it's 62, 65,
62. So you're a couple of years.
Yeah, you're not there yet.
You're not to retirement yet, and the average woman, that's widowhood.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy, especially I just turned 52. It's like, Trudy, you only got 7 more years. Like, what's going on? What's interesting is 59 and a half forever has been and I don't know how far this goes back, but you cannot take money out of your 401k or IRAs until you're 59 and a half.
Okay.
If you touch it prior to that, you have a 10% penalty. So it's odd that aligns with the current age of an average widow in America at 59 or 59 and a half. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
Yeah. I just think, like, what's the repercussions of that? Not just for the family, but just like in America in general, Matt. Yeah. We're starting to see just as many women working outside the house as men. Like, we're seeing that happen. That trend's been going on for a long time. But what I've learned over the last 30 plus years is the women actually control the purse strings. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, even in my own household, like, I manage the investments, obviously, and those type of things, but Trudy pays the bills and those things. But when it comes to a big spend, I'm not making that decision without Trudy. And so a lot of that control, the money aspect, is being controlled by women already. And so that probably, from a perspective standpoint, it's probably, not that they want to be a widow at 59, but if they're already in charge financially, it's probably okay. I don't know, what's it do demographically? Like, think that through.
It is kind of a weird thing, just like you go from having a couple that's been together for 20, 30, 40, 50 years together, and then all of a sudden one of them is gone, and all of that responsibility. And I always think of it as a shared responsibility. And they talk about this idea of like one brain between the couple, and you learn to delegate. Like, oh, if it's yard stuff, that's Matt's. I'd never even think about that, right? Yeah. Or, if it's this particular element, and all of a sudden all of that gets dumped onto whoever the widow is, and that's just a lot.
Yeah.
So can you be helpful in that? That's the question.
Well, and I think yes, but they have to help themselves. There's too many people get to 60 and then they're like, okay, Social Security, I can start at 62. We should go see a financial advisor. Yeah. And start thinking about this. Yeah. Well, if you start seeing a financial advisor at 60 and the average is 59 or 59 and a half to be a widow, you probably should have saw somebody sooner.
It's kind of like a doctor.
Yeah.
Like, well, wait till we're 62 to go see the doctor. You probably should go see your doctor a little sooner than that.
That's right.
That doesn't really seem healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. So get in and see somebody. I don't care if you're 40, right? Get in and see an advisor and start thinking about the future and planning and doing some things so that you're not alone. I guess that's the biggest thing. And I've had plenty of widows that I've helped over the years. If we've had good conversations jointly with the husband and the wife, and she becomes a widow, we have a really good shot at helping them in that next stage, like making good financial decisions, when to bring the kids in, when to not bring the kids in, when to have a trust set up to protect the kids from themselves or creditors and predators, like this whole conversation. But if you're not doing any planning and then you're a widow, it's a whole pile of crap laying in front of you, Matt. Yeah. Statements and titles of the house and cars. And
so can we play out a worst case scenario?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say that somebody was to turn 59 and a half, right?
Yep.
And loses their spouse. And the spouse was really the one that was in charge of it financially. And let's say that they were a everyday kind of millionaire type of person, right? If to go through that, if the other spouse was the one managing it, because you've had to deal with it, to untangle that ball of mess, is that a month-long process or a 2-month or a 5-month process on average to get it like so that your ducks are in a row?
Yeah.
Is that a 2-year process?
Yeah, that's a good question. The very least amount of time is 12 months. The very least.
The very least is a year.
At least.
Really?
I just had this happen. I had a client that unfortunately was dealing with a spouse
Yeah.
that they were going to have to put in memory care. And immediately the spouse is like, I need to sell the house now. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No big decisions here. We're just going to take one step at a time.
Yep.
You have plenty of money to stay in your house. There's all kinds of books written about don't make any decisions in the first year. Like don't go sell your house because your spouse died, that kind of thing. The biggest, and some of it can be 5 years, Matt. Like I've had people that I've had to hold their hands, and we do a good job of it and want to do this, where they're just making stupid decisions with their money. Yeah. Not smart, but stupid, like buying things they shouldn't buy. Dating people, like I'm not getting in the dating game, but dating these predators.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden this widow has got money now, and let's go to Florida, and let's go to Italy, and let's do this, and let's fly first class. And all of a sudden the accounts are draining, and they're just making bad decisions, and it's somebody's taking advantage of them. So, we try to bring the family in, try to bring the kids in. We play a really good job of being that person in the middle, to be able to talk a little sternly. Let's use mom to talk a little sternly to mom about, listen, you just went through $125,000 last year. You haven't bought a new house or anything. You've been traveling, and if you're happy, you're happy. But if this happens another 10 years, like there's nothing left. Yeah. So, we've had those hard conversations, but it's not a month process. It's not a 6 month. It's a minimum of a year just to get, especially if they haven't been involved in, like, maybe they paid bills and stuff, but they weren't involved in how much money they even had and what Social Security is going to pay out. And now they got life insurance money paid out, and what's that look like? And how do I live for the next 30 years on this? It's a daunting
task.
Yeah.
So I guess the takeaway from it sounds like it's a year, minimal.
At least.
To dig out of that hole, it's a year.
And then what I think about, Matt, so we're in this AI world.
Yep.
It's a world that we're not going to leave. Like, it's here.
Yep.
So I always go back to, as a financial advisor, like, so cut me out of this.
Yep.
So now mom's by herself. She's got all these statements, tax returns, all this stuff in front of her. Can a kid come over at the kitchen table, scan all this stuff, throw it in some Claude, Chat, whatever the flavor of the AI is of the day, and say, help us do the planning? Like, I don't see it. And here's why. There's a story. There's a story that was made while they were married and living, and now there's a new story. And that story can't be thought of with an algorithm from reading a book and just checking boxes. Like, it's a conversation with that widow about what's important to her. But it's not one day, it's that 12-month ongoing conversation to try to help them out. And that's where I don't think AI replaces that human in the middle that helps them. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, I can see it. Like, I all the time I'll scan stuff and throw it in Chat and say, analyze this, summarize it. It's helpful. But can it do the whole, I mean, what do you think?
The holistic planning of it? I think it's always a good way of using the AI to get you to average, right? And so you can look at this and you can say, all right, here's maybe the average way of looking at this particular family's situation, right? It'll always get you to average of, okay, here's what the average person will say, or here's what the average, and sometimes that is helpful to get yourself to average. Most of the people that I work with don't want to be average, right? And so what's interesting about that is that's where the story comes into play, because then you can take what has come out of the AI and say, what is the story that applies to this? And what is the elephant that maybe we didn't really think about? Humans are good at figuring out what that weird thing is that's in the room.
That's right.
That maybe you're like, why is that here? It doesn't really make sense. So let's go down that rabbit hole. The AI will only give you the average, but your job as the human is to figure out the other thing that was not expected that completely plays into the situation.
Right.
So that's how I would think about it or use it. You know?
It's a tool. It's a good tool. I don't think it cures everything. That's my point.
Gets you the average.
Yeah. And then I guess the big takeaway here is back to 59. If 59 is the number, you just better do some planning, because we just don't know. God has a plan for us, and we just don't know when that day is. Thank goodness. I don't want to know my day. Although I think it's age 129 for me, so I got a ways to go. But you just don't know. And so if the average is 59 and Trudy's 52, she better know where everything's at in the next 7 years, because if average happens, she needs to be prepared. That's the reality. That's the takeaway. And yeah, I have her using some AI, but she's not going to rely on AI to help her solve these problems. So
we'll see you back here.